Um, let me tell you guys a fucking story. So I never said a lot of detail about this because I don't know, I had like this intense fear that like he would be watching my stuff, but I don't give a fuck anymore. So I'm gonna spill the beans, you guys. So I was talking to this guy, and I'm gonna tell you guys the full story. Why not? Because he's literally a piece of shit. So here we go. Okay. So this is what happened. He's a shitty person. I'm not sitting here and say that all men are shitty. He just sucks as a person. Like, truthfully. So, like, in May, this guy hit me up on Facebook. He slid in my DMs. I know Facebook, but we were old high school buddies. So he hit me up on Facebook, and I was like, who is this? I don't remember you. He was very hot, tall, exactly what I like. Very much the flavor of Divine, you know. It's just the way that I like him. So he hit me up, and he was like, oh, like, you're really cute, whatever. He lives in, so he was like, I'm gonna come visit you. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So, well, okay, he didn't say that. He was like, I'm gonna come visit home if I have time, like we should spend time together. I was like, all right, cool. I was thinking like I was gonna hook up with him, and then he didn't come. So I was like, all right, out the window. And I was also like kind of happy about that, because I was like, I don't want to just like hook up with people anymore. Like, I'm tired of that. That's when I was getting to that second point. But I hadn't hooked up with anybody for a long time, but I still was in the mindset of that. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, I don't really want to be in that mindset anymore. I want to change my mindset. So I was like kind of happy he didn't come. So some time went by. We're texting. Everything's like going cool. And he was away, we'll say. And he was in a different country. So after like a month or two, I sent him a care package full of like stuff, right? And then he, like, how do I even put this? He was happy I sent him the care package, but then like worried that I thought like we were something we weren't, and that I wanted him to be like exclusive to me. And he was like, I'm away from home, like I'm gonna be fucking other women. And I was like, you're literally a psychopath. Why would you say that? So I was like, all right, fuck you, bye. So then he unfollowed me, and I was like, all right, fuck you, bye. So I unfollowed him on all that. And then like a couple months later, because I'm dumb, I talked to him again. And, you know, like, it really is my fault. And this is the thing, right? So when we first started talking, like, there were multiple places in our talking where, like, I wanted to ghost so bad. And I should have listened to my gut. Like, my gut was telling me to ghost. And I should have ghosted, and I didn't fucking ghost. So I stuck around because I was like, because you know what else? This was like, he hit me up 3 weeks after I said I was no longer looking, that I was not using dating apps, and that God was just going to send me a man. So I did not think it was happenstance that he hit me up and he met all of my qualifications, honey bun. He met all my qualifications. So I thought he was it. I was like, oh shit, this is what I asked for. This is what I thought. So that thought like lingered in my mind. And like, that's another thing like I'll talk about is like, I think a lot of times like I put too much faith into things, and like I do believe in a higher power, and I am a religious person, but it's like I feel like sometimes when you have faith that, I don't know, like you kind of, how do I even explain it? It feels like you have so much faith that you believe that everything has a singular purpose, and it's like you're constantly trying to find meaning to everything, when sometimes there just is not meaning in anything. And sometimes a story about a hot fucking boy is just a story about a hot fucking boy, and that hot fucking boy is not your soulmate. He's just a dickhead who is cute and knows it and knows how to talk smooth, and will essentially end up giving you a subject to talk about on your podcast, you know? And maybe like a couple more red flags to look out for, you know? So, yeah, so I very much was like looking for signs and everything. And I couldn't shake that I felt like he was my person. I couldn't get rid of it because I was like, I don't think it's a mistake, or like it's just a random occurrence that he just popped up a couple weeks after I said I was no longer talking to men. And I didn't meet him on a dating app, and he hit me up. I was like, I don't think that's weird. I know. It's giving hysteric religious person. I can't remember what they're called right now. It's giving lunatic is what it's giving. So I was like, I really couldn't shake that thought or feeling or whatever. And so a couple months later, I will admit that when I sent the care package and like his response was, he was happy at first. And like I had some moments where I felt like I was expecting him to hate it and feel like it was too much. So I projected that onto him. And then so he became that he felt like I was asking for a lot. Because I don't know if that makes sense. If I was projecting it onto him, I don't know if that makes sense. I was very self-conscious about the whole thing. And that made me say things that sounded insecure. And then in turn, it made him feel how I thought he felt. That makes sense. So he lashed out and he said all that shit. So there was like a little bit, the teeniest bit of fucking gaslighting on my end, and also just me being a dumb bitch. But I think I am resolved of those sins because of what I'm about to tell you. So girl, let me tell you something. I noticed that he followed me on Instagram, was friends with me on Facebook, all of that. I noticed that like he never interacted with my post or anything. Oh, I skipped a part. So we apologized to each other, right? So I reached out and I was like, I don't feel right that I gaslit you, and I'm apologizing for that. You still fucked up when you said all that shit, and I'm not expecting anything of you. I just wanted to say I'm sorry that I gaslit you, and I didn't like that. So he apologized and he was like, yeah, it was my fault too. I shouldn't have said all the shit I said. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And I was like, that's done. We don't have to talk. It's fine. It's whatever. I literally started like moving on, grieving the whole idea that like he was like my soulmate, whatever. I literally let that shit go, right? Like moving on, doing what I do best, being a bad bitch.